Yes? Okay.
It's showtime.
Don't have my gavel, but we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is the Planning and Zoning meeting for the City of Louisville. It's July 18th, 2017, and it is 6:30 p.m. We'll move to the first, or the second item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the June 27th meeting. Do I have any comments or questions or a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Okay, motion by James, second by Karen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We will move to the consent agenda plats. We have one consent agenda plat tonight. There are no variance requests or variance has already been approved. So item A is final plat of Denton County Church Edition, Lot 1, Block A, zone single-family residential on 1.612 acres located on the northeast corner of Corporate Drive and Valley Parkway.
Chairman Green, the plat before you tonight has been reviewed by city staff, who has determined that the plat meets all requirements of all city ordinances. Staff recommends approval as submitted. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have any comments, questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by William,
Second.
second by Mary Ellen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 4, public hearings. Item A and B we're going to read those both together, and then we can discuss and have the hearing, the public hearing together, and then we'll vote on those separately. Item A is public hearing, consideration of a zone change request from light industrial zoning district to warehouse zoning district on approximately 6.68 acre tract of land, legally described as lots 11 and 12, Block A, ARTX, Park Addition, bounded by East Valley Ridge Boulevard on the northeast side and Mario Court on the west side, as requested by Richard Deot Inc. on behalf of Jim Bedworth Jr. of REW Gray Properties LLC, the property owner. Item B, consideration of a special use permit for a wholesale establishment with outside storage on more than 10% of the platted lot on approximately 6.68 acre tract of land legally described as lots 11 and 12, Block A of the ARTX Park Addition, bounded by East Valley Ridge Boulevard on the northeast side and Mario Court on the west side, as requested by Richard Deot of Deot Inc. on behalf of Jim Bedsworth Jr. of REW Gray Properties LLC, the property owner.
Good evening, Commissioners. I would request the AV staff to go ahead and turn on the images from the laptop. Thank you. These are two companion items. The zoning of the site is currently light industrial, and the SUP necessitates the zoning change to warehouse district because the warehouse district does allow a warehouse facility with more than 10% of the platted lot dedicated to outside storage. Staff has no objection to the zoning change. The zoning of warehouse is compatible with the land uses and zoning in that area. On your screens, you can see the zoning pattern in that area and the location, the proposed location of the facility. The business is currently located on South Mill Street and has been there for many years, and they are seeking to move to a new location since their business has grown and they're needing more property for storage and for their operations. The next image is an aerial photograph of the area. Artex Park was developed just a few years ago, and this would be the first tenant of that park. They would be located right at the entrance of the park off of Valley Ridge. The site is currently 2 lots. Those lots would have to be platted together into 1 lot to proceed with the development of the site if the SUP is granted. As you can see here in the development plan, the main entrances to the side are off of Mario Court. The front building and the offices are situated here on the west side of the building. The larger building is primarily warehouse space, and then there will be two secondary buildings that'll be used for open storage. There'll be three-sided buildings with a covered roof, but they're considered outside storage since they're not fully enclosed. There's also another storage area on the northern portion of the site, and then on the eastern portion of the site. As you can see here, the heavy line shows proposed screening wall to screen that site, and that northern storage site will have a limitation to the height of the outside storage. It can't exceed the height of the wall. Now, the height at the back of the building will be taller, I believe up to 24 feet. The site is impacted by an existing power line easement, which you can see right here. It's a 100-foot wide power line easement, and it kind of crosses the property at an angle. And one of the difficulties with that is that it is preventing the screening wall from following Valley Ridge Boulevard. That was one of the primary concerns of staff, was the view from Valley Ridge, because once Valley Ridge is extended to the Corporate Drive extension, we expect the traffic to pick up in that area. There's also a limitation to in landscaping and trees. Large trees cannot be planted within that district. It's prohibited by the power company. So staff's worked extensively with the applicant and the applicant's engineer to kind of come up with a plan. And so what they've done, they've relocated the 8-foot screening wall on the west side of the power line easement, and it'll kind of straddle there's also a 30-foot sanitary sewer easement which abuts the west side of the power line easement. So there's quite a few obstacles concerning that outside storage. I think one of the biggest things, though, that will help in the screening of the site is shown on their landscape plan. They are planting, as you're approaching the power line easement, live oak trees. So as those trees mature, their canopies will have foliage year-round and will help screen some of the storage, the larger storage yard. But then within the power line easement, they'll be planting evergreen shrubs at a maximum height of 6 feet, which will kind of help with the line of sight, particularly with the wall, since it'll start on the northern side, fairly close to the street, but then as you move southward, it moves further apart following the power line easement. Some of the variances that the applicant is asking is for materials. The building will be composed of split-face concrete block. I believe it is a 30% coverage in lieu of the 80% requirement. The rest of the building will be stucco, and then the two three-sided storage sheds will be all metal, but will be painted to match the main building. That would be 0% masonry. The second variance is for the sheds to be allowed to be metal. Number 3 variance is to allow storage to exceed the height of the screening wall. That would be for the larger storage site east of the building. And then finally, D is to allow precast panel screening within the 25 feet of the street right-of-way in lieu of the required brick or stone. And staff has no objection to those variances. I will go back to the landscape plan. That concrete panel wall will extend, and actually I think the development plan may show it a little bit better. It will extend around the northern storage area, along Valley Ridge, and then all the way down to the southeastern corner of the site. Staff felt it would be, it would look better if there was consistent screening along that entire run. And another aspect I wanted to point out too is that quite a bit of enhanced landscaping, especially at the corner, in the form of berms with special landscaping, has been placed up in that area. So therefore, staff recommends approval of the SUP and the zoning change. We feel that the applicant has gone to great lengths to minimize the impact of the aesthetics of the site on the surrounding area, especially considering that existing uses to the west are heavy industrial in nature, and this makes for a good transition. The applicant and the applicant's engineer are present if you have any further questions, but before I turn it over to them, I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Does this replace an existing facility in Lewisville?
Yes, the existing facility is located at the corner of Purnell and South Mill Street, and the company's just simply outgrown that site, and they're actually a legal non-conforming use. So the relocation of this would be an opportunity for possible redevelopment of that site because it is within our Old Town Design District.
Okay, thanks.
I had a question. Did you say that the storage area on the east side of the property, there's a requested variance to allow the height to exceed the screening wall?
Right. The screening wall will be 8 feet. The storage will be a maximum of 24 feet. It will be set back from the street, on average about 100 feet. And then keep in mind, along the street, you'll have that evergreen hedgerow that will minimize the impact in the visibility of that storage.
Is there any concern about that 24-foot of storage being on top of the sewer easement?
No, because it will be paved, and of course, it being an easement, the city has the right to maintain or construct any new lines at any time, and I believe the applicant is well aware. I would invite the applicant's engineer to address that issue to clarify.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you.
You, the applicant?
Madam Chairwoman and Commission members, my name is Rich Diott with Diott Engineering, and I am representing REW Materials tonight, who is the applicant. And I didn't hear the question.
Oh, I was just asking what the storage on the east side of the building, is there a concern about the 24-foot tall storage being on top of the sanitary sewer easement?
So that's been addressed with staff. The 30-foot easement right now has a fairly large sewer force main in it. And my understanding is, I don't know if I just changed your screen, I apologize. My understanding is that there's going to be another force main put in that easement in the future. And so they've made us aware of that. And we've talked back and forth about the loads that would be presented by the storage. And it won't be significant to those pipes underneath there. So the storage, typically, the structure of the storage is about 12 feet high. But we expect there may be, on that top shelf, up to 24 feet. Typically, if you're familiar with their existing site in town here, it doesn't go anywhere near 24 feet, but we don't want to misrepresent that. So
Okay.
that's what we have there. And the staff has worked very carefully with us to try to resolve all of those variance issues the best way we could. And give me just a second. I wanted to see, did you have the cross sections that we sent? Yes, I did.
Can you sign in while you wait, please? Thank you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you. So if you look at that, we've actually, and staff requested this so we could illustrate. There are 3 different views that we're looking at on those 2 different cross sections, just to see what it looked like. Now, part of this, the actual storage is 100+ feet away. The easement, the electric easement, is 100 feet wide. And that turned out to be much more restrictive than anybody anticipated in the beginning, because they're high tension lines and you can't put tall things in there. There are limits depending on the voltage of those lines and the sag that the line has at different temperatures and power loads. So the storage underneath there is limited, and it was for the park as well. It also limits, we can't put a tree right next to the easement because it'll grow into the easement, and that may represent some sort of electrical hazard as well. So, and we did go back and forth trying to find the best possible solutions for this and still be able to use the site. The 100-foot easement uses up a lot of land, which was anticipated to be used for storage in the beginning. It's not available. The 30-foot easement, we've kind of found a middle ground there, because if you add the 100 feet to 130 feet, you've got a site now that's not usable for this. So we've worked to try to find the best solutions we could, those cross sections, and I apologize, my little finger keeps dragging across the touchpad and throwing it off. But if you look at those cross sections, there are 3 different views. One is of an individual walking on the sidewalk on the street next to the 6-foot hedgerow that we're planning to put in. And that is as allowed by the power company. So they own the easement and they can go and do things to that hedgerow. We think they'll tolerate a 6-foot hedge in there. But they do have the right of maintenance of that to not affect the electric wires that are there. So we show the view of a person walking, a person driving in the southbound lanes, and a person driving in the northbound range. So you can kind of see what everybody could see. And for the most part, the view that they're going to see is not of the structure or the storage. And for the most part, when storage isn't anywhere near 24 feet, they won't see it at all. And you can see that from those cross sections.
Okay.
Is that it?
Does anybody else have a question? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. We do have other people here if y'all have any more
Yes,
questions.
so with that, we will open the public hearing. And we'll go ahead and make this public hearing for item A and B. Is that all right, Richard?
That'll be fine.
Okay. So if anybody would like to come up and speak, please come forward. Okay, with nobody coming forward, we're going to close the public hearing, and we will, do we have any questions? Discussion? All right, then can I get a motion?
Move to approve A and B with the,
Do we need to vote on them separately?
Yes, we need.
excuse
We
me.
need to do separate votes,
Okay.
so we'll
Need
do
separate
a motion
votes.
for A,
All right, so I move to approve for item A.
okay?
And
Motion by-
second.
Motion by Mary Ellen, second by Karen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now for item B, can I get a motion?
Second.
Okay, motion by William, second by John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Chairman Green, both of these items will be considered by the City Council at a second public hearing on Monday, August the 21st, 2017, at 7:00 p.m. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we will move forward to public hearing item C, consideration of a special use permit for outdoor commercial amusement on approximately 8.208 acre tract of land legally described as Lot 1, Block A of the Blake C. Bowen Addition located at 1951 North Summit Avenue, as requested by the Donovan Chandler of Skyline Trapeze, the applicant, on behalf of Rounds of Fun Limited, the property owner.
Thank you, Chairman Green. Skyline Trapeze is a new company that's looking at developing a permanent site here in Louisville. A matter of fact, it is across the street from our previous item on Mario Court that they're interested in developing. Now, indoor commercial amusement is allowed by right if it's wholly enclosed within a building. They're looking for a temporary spot that they can operate and offer classes while they are going through the development process and constructing their new facility. They have are pursuing a lease with the owner of this current site, which is currently I believe it's called Zone Action Park. They have go-karts and batting cages, and they have both outdoor and indoor commercial amusement. That site has been there for many years. They do have a kind of an open space on the north side of their parking lot, and I can show you an exhibit that shows a little bit more in detail that they would like to fence in and set up their trapeze for their classes. And this would be temporary for 1 year. And we do have some conditions that we would recommend placing on the SUP. that the SUP would expire after 1 year, but they would be allowed a 1-year extension if needed to allow them to complete the development and construction of their new facility. That would be staff approved. Number 2, that no commercial events would be held on the site. And for a little bit more detail on that, the main purpose is to have the classes. And in their narrative, they explained it's usually 10 to 15 people. They occasionally may have a few spectators kind of coming out and watching. You know, you'd bring their own lawn chairs. But we may need to reword that a little bit, that there would not be any large performances that would, you know, create a very large crowd, because the site just really wasn't designed for that. The third condition, again, would be that the SUP would expire after 1 year. And I'm not sure if I mentioned the first condition would be that the chain link fence be clarified to be 6 feet in height for safety purposes. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
6 feet seems a bit low for the fencing for that. What was the thinking in 6 feet being enough?
Well, I believe in the applicant's proposal, they had proposed either 4 foot or 6 foot. So 6 foot, you know, is fairly tall and is fairly common for security fences around various businesses. You know, they do make, you know, higher fences, 8 feet, 8 or 10 feet, but staff felt that 6 foot would suffice in this situation.
Thank you.
Is there any kind of a binding agreement about the permanent facility? Like
No, like I said, the binding part would be, you know, if they don't move forward, they would only be allowed, you know, to operate for 1 year. I believe they're in the process of purchasing the property. They will have to go through platting and, well, actually the site is platted. They'll have to go through an engineering site plan process, which usually takes anywhere from, you know, 4 to 6 months. And from what I understand, I thought the applicant was going to be here this evening, but in our past conversations, they're moving in that direction to get that submitted and move forward with the project.
So does the 1 year start from
The
when?
SUP approval,
So that would start from when council approves the SUP?
yes.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. So the applicant is not here. So I guess with that, we'll open the public hearing.
You could go ahead and open it, just, I guess for formality's sake, and then you can close it. No one comes forward.
Okay. So public hearing is open.
it's cryptic.
Having no one come forward, we're going to close the public hearing, and we will, if there are any other comments or questions, discussion, then can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by William,
Second.
second by James. All those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
This item will be considered by the City Council at a second public hearing on Monday, August the 7th, 2017, at 7:00 p.m. Thank you.
Okay. And next item on the agenda would be adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Mary Ellen,
I'll second.
second by John. All those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Bam.
Together.
I do. I think it's in the wrong bag.
The trapeze thing?
Yeah.